Hi there, and welcome to this first session on configuring WebLogic for production. So my name is Matt Brazier and I'm a principal consultant and the head of consulting profession at c2b2, and what we're going to be talking about over these 5 sessions is considerations and techniques for configuring WebLogic server for use in a production environment. So this is the first of 5 sessions. We're going to be covering a number of topics, or 5 topics over these sessions. So this first session is about what we mean by configuring for production and what you need to do or why you need to do it. And then the next 4 are really about what to do. So we're going to look at 4 different areas. We will look at security, manageability, performance, and reliability or stability. And each of those sections we will look at in a bit of detail, and we will talk about some of the settings and configurations that you should be considering when configuring your WebLogic server environment for production use. So I'd like to start talking about productionization by using an interview question that I often ask people when they're coming for interview. And that question is simply, if you were asked to configure a WebLogic domain for use in a production environment, what would you do differently to how you would have configured things in a development environment? And the answers we usually get are things along the lines of turning on production mode, increasing the amount of memory, and increasing the resources that are available for data sources. So while increasing those resources and things may be necessary, it's not really, that's not where getting things ready for production ends. So in giving it more resources means that it can cope with a larger amount of load. That kind of ties in with some of the performance stuff that we'll talk about in later sessions. But you're not really doing anything about manageability or stability or security if those are the only things you're changing. So what do we mean by out of the box? Well, the out of the box configuration is how WebLogic comes if you just install it and accept all of the defaults, create a domain with a domain wizard, and the configuration that you end up with after all of that. So that configuration is very much tuned for evaluation and development. By evaluation, I mean that the process by which they sell WebLogic server consisted of, when BEA systems had it, and still to some extent with Oracle, consisted of people can download it, they can perform an evaluation of it, they decide whether it suits their purposes or not, and if they like it, they buy it. So it was very much in the vendor's interests to make sure that you have a good evaluation experience, that at the end of your evaluation you're happy with the product, you're confident that it can do the things that you need to, and that you don't feel it's overly complicated or involves too many steps. So in order to do that, it's been tuned very much so that you have that good evaluation experience. There are things that have defaults or have settings which are not really suitable for everything, but they were good enough for a development environment or for a brief evaluation. So this includes things like using default SSL keys from the demo key stores rather than having you create your own key stores. So that would be a step that you would have had to perform, then it would slow down your evaluation. So when it's shipped, when you get it, these configurations are not necessarily the kind of things that you want to do. There's a number of things that are wrong with these configurations or which are not optimal. Some of those things are settings, so there are a lot of settings around things like data sources, JMS queues, transaction timeouts, ports being used, all those types of things which are configured in a way that we don't think is optimal for your production environment. It's fine for development environment and it allows you to get up and running very quickly with your evaluation. Another thing that is not particularly optimal, or that I think is a mistake, is this inclusion of production mode. So whilst I don't think it's a bad idea to enable production mode in a production environment, it gives the impression to people that that's all you have to do, that you've got this flip switch that goes from this was in development mode, flick the switch, now it's in production mode and there's nothing else I have to do. And that's very much not the case. There's a lot of stuff you need to do. Production mode only touches the very thin surface of things that you need to do in order to get your environment ready for production. We'll talk about a lot of the things that need to be tuned over the next few sessions, but please don't feel that production mode is going to solve all of your problems for you. So the other thing we need to mention is that applications are different. Most applications, or all applications, have different requirements, so you're building it for a different purpose. You're finding that you've got different functional and non-functional requirements, so you might find that some applications are configured to be available 24/7 and downtime is not acceptable for new deployments and upgrades. And other applications which are just running on a single instance, reliability is not really a key priority, and it's fine for that application to go down for a short period of time. So you have very different non-functional requirements. You're also making use of very different services, so some applications may be making heavy use of JMS, in which case tuning and managing your JMS infrastructure is going to be key to having it work well in production. And you're also going to be using different frameworks, so you'll find that different log4j, for example, will perhaps need some different tuning or configuration to if you're doing everything through the WebLogic logger, because then you have to tune your log levels and things differently. So there's a whole number of factors that are involved in configuring WebLogic for use in a production environment. Hopefully we've explained to you a bit about why this is a process that you should consider. And what we're going to do in the next few sessions is talk about some of the things that you should consider for your particular environment. So hopefully you'll join us in the next session, which will be about configuring your environment for security. Thanks very much.